Factoring and solving quadratic equations. This video will go into detail why this method is a much better approach to solving quadratic equations and factoring. This example will begin with a quadratic that is easy to factor using a more traditional method. Disclaimer: my intent is for you to learn this method even on the easier examples because this method will continue to work on the more complex examples, even those with imaginary solutions. Now let's take a visual approach. We'll first start by identifying the solutions. X is -1 and x is +3. What's the sum to those solutions? -1, +3, the sum is 2. Now what's the product of your solutions? -1 times +3 is -3. These details are extremely important because this is how the algebraic technique works. Now let's take another look at the sum. If you notice, the sum has an opposite relationship to the middle coefficient. So let's look at the middle coefficient. It's a -2, but the sum is +2. Now it's time for the algebraic approach. Now remember, this is driven by technique, not by trial and error. So, what are the factors and solutions of y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3? If we can find two numbers whose sum is 2 and product is -3, then they will be all the solutions. I think now is a good time to go back to our visual approach to understand what the average and how that comes into play for the algebraic technique. So what's the average of the solutions? We have -1 plus 3 divided by 2. That gives us 2 divided by 2, which is 1. 1 is the average. Now we can find our average on the x-axis. Now I'm going to clear this off and we're going to look at some more details. Notice where my average is sitting. It sits right in the middle of my solutions. So that means if I go to the left, I can find one of my solutions. And this solution is my average minus 2. If I go back to my average and go to the right, then I find my other solution. This solution is my average plus 2. So my average plus 2 and my average minus 2 gave me my solutions. Cool. So let's check out our algebraic approach so that you can see how it works from start to finish. So I get the average from my sum by dividing it by 2. So I have 1 minus u. Remember, that's because I have to go to the left. And now I have 1 plus u, and that gets me to go to the right. Its product should be equal to -3. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative u times positive u is -u squared. By doing some algebra techniques, I can add u squared to the other side of the equal sign. And then I can add +3 to the left side of the equal sign. And 1 plus 3 is 4. So if 4 is equal to u squared, I can take the square root and u will be equal to 2. Remember on the graph, we went 2 units to the left and we went 2 units to the right of our average. That's where the 2 comes from. So now that we know u is equal to 2, I'm going to highlight the u's and I'm going to calculate using the 2. 1 minus 2 is equal to negative 1. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Therefore, x is equal to negative 1 and x is equal to 3 are all the solutions. Next fact, the solutions and their factors also have an opposite relationship. So if x is negative 1, its factor is x plus 1. If x is 3, then its factor is x minus 3. This means that both of these equations are equivalent, they are just in different forms. So in conclusion, we looked at a visual explanation for finding solutions to a quadratic. Secondly, we used an algebraic technique to identify solutions. And lastly, we wrote the factors from the solutions.